Hello, creators! Want to create an epic object arrival scene like this? Today, I'll show you how to do it step by step using CapCut. Let's get started. We need a few things to do this. A picture of a room, a picture of a cracked ground, a picture of an object, some of these types of green screen groundbreaking effects, a green screen dust effect. I have already found the things I mentioned, and if you also want to practice this, there is a link in the description below. You can download these from there. Okay, I will import these into CapCut. Let's create the groundbreaking effect. First, add the room picture to the timeline. Second, add the cracked ground picture to the timeline. Third, add the first green screen effect to the timeline. After that, go to Remove BG while that layer is selected. Enable the Chroma key option here. Then, select the green color with the eyedropper tool. Leave the default value of the chroma key as it is and go to Adjustments. Now set the saturation to -50. You can see how the green screen effect has successfully matched the ground of the room. Create the second green screen effect in the same way. Some of the green screen effects I used did not match the ground of the room properly. That's why we have to change the blending mode of this layer. To do that, go to Basic and set the blending mode to Darken. Now add the green screen dust effect to the timeline as well. You don't need to use the chroma key option for this effect. When I set the saturation to -50 and set the blending mode to Overlay, I get the desired result. Anyway, add the last green screen effect to the timeline like this. Just like before, remove the green screen and set the saturation to -50. There is no need to change the blending mode in this effect. When you play this, you can see how our groundbreaking effect has been successfully created. Okay, now select all the other layers except the cracked ground layer and the room layer. After that, move those layers like this. Okay, now let's make the animation of our object falling to the ground. For that, add the selected box image as the object to the timeline. After that, move the timeline bar to the position where the groundbreaking effect starts. Select the box layer, go to Video, and add a position keyframe. After that, move the timeline bar back a little and send the box image out of the camera frame. Now when you play, you can see how our animation has been created, but you can see that the speed of this animation is not enough. Okay, let's fix that now. For that, select the box layer and right-click on it and select Show Variable Speed Animation. Now we can access the advanced options of keyframes. Since there was no movement in the x-axis, delete the two keyframes in the x-axis. Now expand the y-axis, go to Keyframe Presets, and select the Rebound in Preset. You can see that the speed has been adjusted to some extent. So, since we need to adjust the speed of this animation properly, let's use the keyframe handle to solve that problem. Okay, I've finished setting the speed. Now let's apply a shaking effect to our creation. For that, go to Effects, then add this shaking effect to the moment the groundbreaking starts. Now add a keyframe to the strength of the shaking effect and set the value to 0. Move the timeline bar a few frames like this and set the shaking effect strength to 10. Again, move the timeline bar forward and set the effect's value to 0. Now when you play this, you can see how the shaking effect has been created, but the timing is wrong. So adjust the effect layer as needed and solve that case as well. Okay, the shaking effect has been created. Let's make our work a little more realistic. For that, duplicate the fourth green screen effect. As you can see, our creation was further enhanced by that work. Now let's create the ground cracking animation. For that, trim the cracked ground layer to the same size as the green screen layers. Then, drag the timeline to where the ground-breaking effect starts. While the cracked ground layer is selected, go to the mask and select the rectangle option. Now resize the mask as it fits. After that, move the timeline bar forward a little and add a keyframe to the mask. Take the timeline bar again to the point where ground is break and make the mask as small as possible. Finally, we have successfully completed our work. Now let's see how our final output looks like.